All right, Shalom. Call out Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Just happened to see this news clip online. They talk about the U.S. struggle to gather allies for maritime operations in the Persian Gulf, and it's a reason why. I'm gonna let this video play, and I'm gonna go into a few scriptures. This should be a short video, but it's basically about the prophecy of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 16, unfolding. Because these these other nations, that's part of the EU and stuff like that, they actually tired of this shit, and Yahweh Hashem Yahushua putting the spirit on them to turn against the U.S. So you'll see what they're talking about in this video, and I'll go into the scripture.
Hormuz, a major trade artery. Washington wants that to stop, and it has been pushing its allies into a potential confrontation by asking them to send their navies to the strait.
This maritime security framework will enable nations to provide escort to their flagged vessels, while taking advantage of the cooperation of participating nations for coordination and enhanced maritime domain awareness and surveillance.
With a pompous name for the operation, Washington laid out an alluring prospect for its allied ships to be the sentinels of the region, except few have been tempted.
The federal government will not be involved in the sea mission presented and planned by the US. We consider the strategy of maximum pressure to be wrong. We do not want military escalation. We will continue to rely on diplomacy.
Well, Germany's been a bit difficult for years, but what about, say, France?
We are setting up a European initiative. This vision is at the opposite of the American initiative, which is the choice of maximum pressure to make Iran go back on a certain number of its objectives.
Yeah, maybe think next time you call someone a fool right before you start calling in favors. Now, Australia had something to say on the initiative, and if Canberra was a girl, you'd know. You two are not going on a date.
The request that the United States has made is a very serious one, and it is a complex one. That's why we are currently giving this request very serious consideration. But we will ultimately, as we always do, decide what is in our own sovereign interests, and we certainly discussed this issue during our ministerial consultations. But again, no decision has yet been made.
America's Secretary of State keeps a straight face.
You simply shouldn't believe everything that's reported in the press. There's lots of conversations taking place amongst all of the countries. It's very important that every country that has an interest in that region.
And when these devils speak, you shouldn't believe every goddamn thing they be talking about either, because they'll get on TV and hold a straight face and tell a straight ass lie.
And has goods and services that flow, energy that flows into places like Japan and Korea, that they participate in a way that protects the interests of their own economies.
But Iran has already shared what it thinks about the formidable force Washington has managed to gather, and it's not alone in this opinion.
Today, the United States is alone in the world and cannot create a coalition. Countries that are its friends are too ashamed of being in a coalition with them.
Hey man, I'm just pausing right there, and that's the scriptures, man. You can't make this up. Let me get this over here. It says in the book of Revelations, chapter 17, verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. And that fire is talking about these nuclear missiles that they've been broadcasting in the news and stuff like that. It ain't no coincidence. I seen another video too. Hold on, let me go to it. That they showing stuff like this. Nagasaki marks 74 years since the U.S. atomic bomb. Hey, these other nations, they ain't forgot about this.
City officials laid wreaths at the Peace Memorial near the epicenter. The bombing of Nagasaki happened 3 days after the destruction of Hiroshima. Together, the two nuclear bombings killed up to 220,000 people. Back to now, the mayor of Nagasaki is calling on the US and Russia to play key roles in denuclearizing the world. All that following the US withdrawal, of course, so recently from the intermediate-range nuclear forces treaty with Russia, which has been in place since the Soviet era. Washington has since announced too plans to deploy ground-based missiles in the Asia-Pacific region, prompting China to warn of countermeasures. Physicist Mark Goodwood told us Nagasaki shows us what the future could hold.
And it's like, according to the scriptures, this is what the future do hold, ain't no could hold. I'm gonna go into it real quick. Now you read the book of 2 Peter, it says in chapter 3, verse 11, it says, seeing that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons are you to be in all holy conversation and godliness, and how it's going to be dissolved? Let me go to it. So, knowing this coming and impossible, and it is possible, I should say, you should be carrying yourself a certain way. I know my voice is a little choppy too on this video. I've been trying to get my throat clear, but I want to make this video and talk about what's really going on, because these was atomic missiles. Now they got nukes now, so it's going to be way more devastating than this. That's why the scriptures say knowing that these things should be dissolved, because it's going to dissolve this stuff. It ain't going to just destroy it. Now, I'm going to go back a little bit. Now, there go that cloud right there, like the book of Revelation talking about. Let me open it back up. Say my tab just crashed. Book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 14, it says, in the heavens, departed as a scroll when it's rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And that's why it's gonna be it's gonna be a new heaven, new earth. Because it is.
Remind ourselves of the horror of what has happened in the past and what could happen in the future if we don't take appropriate action to avert it. And at the present time, we have seen set in motion a new Cold War, so to speak, a new arms race, actually a continuation of the same old arms race and very similar to the old Cold War.
City officials laid wreaths at the peace memorial near the epicenter. The bombing of Nagasaki happened 3 days after the destruction of Hiroshima.
You see, and they know this. These nations, they know this coming too, man. A lot of these leaders, they read the scriptures too, and they got certain people that read them to them or whatever and try to break them down. So they know what's coming. I'm gonna read one more scripture and I'm gonna end this up. Now it says in the book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 17, it says, for 1 hour, so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster, and all the company and ships, and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off. So 1 hour, man, that's all it's gonna take. All the shit they building up, like you see the construction on the roads, and and all this different stuff going on. You know, Hey, prophecy unfolding, man. Every week you look up, there's some new stuff popping up on the news. More stuff going on, earthquakes in diverse places, plagues and pestilence going around. And I've been hearing a lot of people too with this little coughing shit, this shit I got going on. But I got me some tea and some herbs and all that stuff, so this one got way better. But I thought it was just me for a minute. I was like, damn, I know it can't just be me. Let me see. And I see other people dealing with this stuff too, so I'm quite sure as the weather starts shifting a little bit more, these Edomites, they got something cooked up they trying to bring out. And you'll hear about it in the news and hear about some new flu shit that they done made, something they're going to come up with. So, just stay alert, stay vigilant, and pay attention to what's going on. The Lord's willing, this video was edifying, and call all y'all Bash and Yahweh Shalom to the elect. Hey, the days being shortened for the elect's sake. Shalom.